Alright, here we go again. JB Hunt back there. It's really loud for some reason. He just pulled in. But we're gonna try it again. You can see, as long as you got the numbers good, visible, you're good. That is a little darker than I would like on that side, but that side don't really matter as much as the passenger side, because the passenger side goes by the scale houses. Yeah, you can see it. I don't know if you can see that. You're supposed to be able to see it from 200 feet away. Not quite sure that's a thing. Could be, could not. This is kind of like, reminds me of the ghost graphics that cops use, you know, where they put the numbers on there because the lettering on there because they have to for their federal funding or whatever. But then they gray it out to match the vehicle, so you can't see it unless you're straight on. And this is pretty much just like that, because you can't see it unless you're about straight on with it. But technically, I'm legal, and I found a third decal, so I might just put the third decal in the windshield, even though I'm not supposed to technically run it that way. But I'm still legal with them on the sides of the vehicle. It just doesn't have it as visible. And yes, if you're wondering, they are two different decals, because this one here is magnetic, and they switched to a white decal with black lettering. The old decal is the one that's got black decal with white lettering. Some of their paper decals may still be the black and white, because they'll have to phase them out over the next couple years or whatever, because us transporters are still using them for a while. They're good for a year and a half, 2 years if you watch what you're doing with them. But then because they go in your bag and stuff like that, they get wore out. Unless you have like a big enough bag that they don't have. But I found 2 more decals. My old set of decals that I forgot I even had in that bag that was in storage. So I might put another one up on the other side or whatever, and I've got extras if I have to put them back on the door or whatever. But I just thought I would show you. That's how I'm running. This is a Thor built 4 Winds camper on a Ford chassis, and I'm taking it to Missoula, Montana. I'm currently in Hammond, Indiana, which is, I got 115 miles in from Goshen yesterday, so I've got 1,600 miles left or something like that to do in the next 6 days, I want to say, because I think today is Saturday. That's the one thing I do kind of love about this job. Yeah, today is Saturday, July 4th. The days all mixed together, so, you know, one day feels like the next. To me, I don't have anything defining a weekend from a weekday. That's the, you know, and that's it. I'm still torn half and half. There's a part of me that definitely is looking forward to an apartment, to just having my own place, my own bed, my own recliner, my own shower anytime you want. The simplicities of living in a house. That's why mankind built houses and apartments and stuff like that. And definitely, you know, your temperature control. For the most part, it's an older house, so I have to deal with whatever they set the temperature of the house at, and then I can work around that with air conditioning or air conditioners or heaters or whatever I got to do in that apartment to make it the temperature I want. So it's not exactly temperature control, but it's close enough. So I'm looking forward to that kind of a life and coming off the road. And then there's a part of me that will miss being on the road, but I don't miss the bugs. Thank you, bug, for showing that. I don't miss the flies and the bugs. I'm not gonna miss the humidity and some other stuff. You know, it's not a bad job, though. I'm not trying to say don't come out here, because I am so happy that I did it. I've done different versions of camper van life, and then expediting, hauling freight in a time-sensitive freight in a high-top or a cargo van first, and then a high-top van in between the years of 2015 and 2020. Off and on, I've done different kind of vehicles where I lived in like 10 of my own vehicles and stuff like that, and did that. And then from 21, I think it was, on to now 26, so like 5 6 years I've been doing RV transport and truck transport, and living out of a bag. That's the bag back there, pretty much. And obviously I wouldn't have done it that long if I didn't like it. So there is something in it. It's like a paid retirement, and then you get paid the fuel and a little bit more, like 100 or 200 more from Goshen directly when you pull something out of Goshen, and then you get paid the settlement, which is the other half, when you deliver the RV. when you deliver one of the Navistar trucks, you're working on their fuel card, so their diesel fuel, and then you get paid half of what you're gonna make right up front, and half on settlement, pretty much. So you get paid kind of better running the Navistar trucks because you don't have to count in the fuel. Whereas here you have to they pay you, but you have to count in the fuel. So this one is pays a little less than what the Navistar trucks do. But then the Navistar trucks have their own issues with the mud flaps and whatnot that you got to counteract and deal with. Whereas RVs don't have that much issue, but then the Navistar trucks, they just sign for them and go and hardly even look at them. And the RVs, sometimes depending on the dealership, you can be there a good hour. Sometimes you can be there 4 hours while they look over stuff, and sometimes half of that is just waiting in the RV lines because they got so many people to check in. Because there's other transporters, other new stuff, and a lot of times these RV companies are small enough that they have the same person renting RVs out to people or whatever is the same person checking people in, so you gotta wait. And they have to run the slides out and they have to do everything before they sign the paperwork to allow you to leave, which I kind of think is stupid. They should make a quick go around and a quick inside check that the driver didn't make any damages inside or outside the unit, and then sign your unit off and go, because nothing the driver did is going to cause the slides and stuff like that to not work unless they went to go use the slides and stuff, which we're not supposed to do anyway. That's the other thing, is when you're doing an RV, you're supposed to sleep up there. If you do sleep in the unit, definitely do not sleep in the bed, because they can tell that, and then they definitely can't sell it as a new RV. They have to sell it as used one after that point, or put it in the junk fence or whatever the hell they call it, and put 5 of these RVs together into one usable one that they can sell. Is routinely what they do if there's too much damages, like right there's something kind of warped, didn't get glued right or something. So they come through and they, with a team at the dealership, and they glue stuff together and they make everything look pretty after it's been delivered. But and if you transport these RVs, just sleep up top here, drive it, and that, occasionally you have to turn the house on. Like this RV has to have the house on so that I can use this system, because it's separate. It's powered by the house, not powered by the dash. So if your on-screen thing does not come on when you turn the dash on, remember right at the bat that your house has to be on for this to run on some of these models, because about half of them do that. But I kind of like it that way, because I can keep the music on or keep the stereo going with whatever I'm doing as I'm eating or doing whatever. I occasionally use the booth over there and eat. You obviously just clean up after yourself and nobody knows the difference, but don't use the microwave or the fridge or anything that could cause permanent damage to the unit somewhere or another with messes, unintentional messes or whatever. Definitely don't use the bathroom. They find any of that happen, they're going to ban you from that dealership, and then you're potentially going to get in trouble with your transport company if they find any of those uses. But nobody really cares if you use this stuff up here to sleep in, or if you use the table to eat on, as long as you clean yourself up after yourself, and then make sure it looks like nobody was ever there to begin with. But that's my RV tour for today. This is once again a Thor 4 Winds camper on it's a Class C RV on a Ford chassis, going to Missoula, Montana. I have 1,600 miles. I'm probably gonna do 400 miles today. If I keep that rate up, it'd be 400 miles tomorrow, which is Sunday. 400 miles Monday, which would be 12, and then possibly Tuesday, and then I could get there Wednesday. But I'm likely gonna push this back to a Friday delivery, or maybe Thursday morning delivery. I haven't decided yet. Right now, I'm based on my estimate. I'm thinking I'm gonna be in Miles City, Montana on Thursday morning, I think, maybe. Well, that's dependent on if I can continue to make at least 300, if not 400 miles a day. But I'm not in a hurry, because the other thing is, when I drop this off, I go on Greyhound, and Greyhound goes 7 days a week, whatever, at the same time, every day. But the Plains Transit, which is kind of a special on-demand, on-call kind of shuttle, Indian native shuttle, basically, from Rapid City, it goes down into the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation and down there into Nebraska, all over the place, to transport people in rural areas. And because of that, they kind of only run to places when they have enough people to do it, to go get and whatever. So I have to kind of wait until the right day that they have enough people gathered together to go on the same day. on that bus, on that shuttle. So it's slightly different than your everyday get on the bus, no matter what type of company the bigger bus companies do. So I will likely, just to make it easier on them and me, I'm gonna probably shoot for the 12th or 13th or something to get on the Plains transit bus from Rapid City down to Shattern, because that's the iffy one out of all of them. And they wanted to do Friday, but if I do Friday early morning and left, and the way it would arrange, I wouldn't get paid in time, and the pay would be wrapped up all weekend. And that's the other thing is, I learned with RV transporting, if you're looking forward to that payday, get the RV, especially RVs, into the dealership early, like 8 or 9 o'clock early, and that way you'll get paid before the end of the day is up. Otherwise, like I say, some of those RV dealerships can take a while to get you in, and they might screw you out of getting paid that same day, if that's the case. If you're looking forward to settlement pay. Otherwise, most RV or transport companies just pay the next day if they can't get, the next business day I should say, if you can't get in. So on Fridays, I tend to avoid delivering on Fridays usually, except for this trip, because if something does go wrong, then you're without pay all weekend. And so obviously it's better to plan to deliver anytime Monday through Thursday, because then you can get paid the next day if nothing, if something did go wrong, and have your money the next morning. If you're that far in the hole, so to speak, that you need that check, which for a while there I wasn't. Now I'm back and forth on a credit card, maxing the card out, like I didn't want to do. That's $1,000 of my own money that I put onto it, prepaid or whatever, the deposit money that I keep increasing on it. So I'm not technically out anything if I ever close that or whatever, but I'm gonna try not to close it. But anyway, I've been going back and forth on that credit card between trips to try to pay for this trip to that trip, and it's just, for me personally, it's my finances that's the issue, not the transporting that's an issue. But like I said in yesterday's video, or the day before, whenever that was, that I did that last video, and if you come out here, if it's just you have plenty of money. If you're trying to support a house and the kids and everything, this is not the type of job to try and work and support that, unless you really like driving all the time, driving like 600 miles a day, every single day, 7 days a week. If you don't mind doing that, and then being rushed through the airports and everything else to try to make tight connections to get back in time to take the next one for 600 miles, if you don't mind that kind of life, then yeah, you could have a house and a wife and kids, you'll just never see them. Or for me, I'd rather just come out here and enjoy my life and live my life and just have me to pay for. And with that, I've been kind of, buying stuff that I didn't necessarily have to buy, and sending it home, and buying bags and some other stuff and whatever, just kind of bored shopping online, which I probably shouldn't have been doing. But so it's all up in our finances. It's the issue with me, is my finances with the credit card, not really the company or being bad with the company or nothing. But that's what I ended up doing, and so I wasn't really getting ahead. I was hoping to have $1,000 in this bank and $1,000 in that bank, sitting there, and then play around on the credit cards with what I need, and then pay that off whenever, and blah, blah, blah. But it never got ahead. I would just start to get ahead, and then they'd give me short trips, so they wouldn't have anything near me, and I have to spend the cost to go back to wherever to get something. And then for a while there, Goshen only had 600-mile trips at a shot, and it's just not worth it. Now that I'm getting out of it, because I thought July was going to die off, because historically that's when they retool everything in July, because of the July 4th holiday, I think, and it might actually die off now after the 4th of July on. I thought they would, what's the word I'm thinking? I thought they would slow down, but they didn't. Instead, they ramped it up, just because I'm leaving, which is pretty typical. And a few times I saw where I was in Texas and they had long runs here, and a few times I saw where I was here and they had long runs in Texas, because that's just, that's the story of how it goes, I guess, is they wait till I'm out of the area to send the good runs or something. I don't know. Not that I don't think they were doing that on purpose. It just felt like it. I don't know. I like the job altogether. I'm not trying to complain or nothing about it. I'm 50-50. There's parts of this job I absolutely love, getting paid, like especially getting paid twice a week, pretty much on demand. Pretty much, I won't say on demand, but on the same day. I could kind of determine my payday. If I get there by such and such a day, I can get paid by that afternoon, that day, if something coming up. Or I can delay it, if I don't have to. I can delay it 4 more days like I'm doing this one. Get there eventually and get paid on that day that I need the money or whatever. So it's a nice, flexible job in terms of you get you decide when you go pick a camper up and get paid, and you decide when you drop the camper off and get paid within reason. You know, you can't really keep it for 3 weeks at a time. But the average, the overall, they say that you can do, even though they don't really like you doing it with the RVs, is if you take a run, you're supposed to measure it out at 600 miles a day, every day, and how many days that would take you, which on this run, 1,700 miles, would have been like 3 days and a little bit in the morning. And so now you can max that out to about 6 days and a little bit in that morning. So basically you could double what it would normally take you to get there if you have to. And I average driving around at that limit pretty much, and I drive 300 miles a day. In this I might drive 400 miles, it just depends in terms of my time getting there, because like I say, at the end of the day here, I've got to wait on that Plains Transit that only goes when it has certain amounts of people loaded up, but you can't blame them. You know, they want to pay for their time. They don't want to drive all the way up there one day for one person, all the way up there the very next day for 2 people, when they could just combine that trip and make 3 of them people go on one trip, you know. So I don't blame them at all for combining it and waiting and stuff like that, and you have to be flexible to use it. That's perfectly fine. It's just that will determine when I can and can't take it. And I think I'm gonna try to take it on the 12th, which is a Sunday. Conveniently, my dad's birthday way back in the day. He's passed away now, but July 12th was his birthday way back. And then, unless they don't run on the weekend, in which case I'll have to wait till Monday. So we'll have to see. But this video is ranting on and on and on. That's all my thoughts this morning. I'm gonna go get me some coffee because I probably don't make any sense. Like and subscribe, leave comments, I'll catch you in a flip. Peace.